What do you do when you're working out of a 2-car garage and you're constantly out of space? Well, you can build something like this. It's a flip-top tool cart that puts a lot of tools in a very small space. We have this awesome mobile base cart from Rockler that holds a lot of weight, and this will be the foundation of the cart, giving us a lot of flexibility in how we move it around. In this video, we're going to show you step-by-step of the entire process of how we built and designed this. So we designed the entire tool chest in Autodesk Fusion, and we cut them out on our Avid CNC. And at the end of the video, we're going to show you where you can download the files if you want to build this yourself. And all of these parts are the interface between the stand and the base. So the Rockler base was built with very sturdy metal parts, a lot of screws, bolts, and welds. And we've created all of these custom parts to fit around those features. So we get a really nice custom fit and everything looks very professional. But we are using scraps to prototype with right now, so it doesn't look super clean. Because we're so limited in space in our garage, I need to get rid of this. This is a fantastic storage system, but it's just become an area where we're throwing stuff on top of it. And I need more space back here to push the metal fab system back. This is the bandsaw and the drill press that we're going to be putting on top of that. And all of this stuff is going to go into that stand, hopefully a little bit more organized. There are much more efficient ways to build something like this, for sure. By no means am I saying that this is the best way. So we're joining 2 pieces of 1/2-inch plywood together, each with kind of a dado cut into the edge. And then we're going to take a 1/2-inch piece and slide it in there like that. And like I just mentioned before, this is a prototyping phase. So even though we do have a full design in Autodesk Fusion, there are things that are going to change and move around. I'm also taking a lot of visual notes. These screw holes are not in a good position, so I'm marking them off as things that we need to move around and fix. And then you can see how we got this angle wrong. So we're gonna need to push that angle back and align it to this a little bit better in the final version. In order to make it around some of the wheels, we had to cut out custom notches like this one. This piece didn't fit very well because the brake sticks out. So we carved away portions of it and took some notes so it will fit right in here very nicely now. And no matter how detailed your design is, there's always going to be things that you need to tweak. These welds are another issue that we didn't represent in CAD. We probably should have, but they're causing it to bump out the plywood a little bit. So we're going to have to grind some of the plywood down to make room for these welds. So I took the side piece off temporarily because we need to fit these panels into these dados, and I can already tell that they're going to be way too tight. And again, we're taking a lot of notes here. So we're trying to figure out what is a better size for the dados, but we're also sanding some things and trying to make them fit accordingly just so we can move forward with the prototype. We are learning a lot from building this side of the stand, but keep in mind that this is all throwaway. We've also been doing a lot of small tests to make sure that things fit properly. This is a test for our hidden hinges that we're going to be adding. We took accurate measurements of them and are making sure that all of the slots that we're cutting for them are in the right location and are accurate. So now that we've learned as much as we can from prototyping one side of the base, we took those changes back into Autodesk Fusion and made a bunch of updates. And now we're going to build the other side of the base that will have all of those updates and changes on it so we can see how those work. About 95% of all the parts that we've designed are being cut out on the Avid CNC. You can use traditional power tools to build this entire stand as well. It'll probably just take you a little bit more time and maybe be a little less accurate depending on your skill level. I love using our Avid CNC. It's by far one of my favorite tools in the shop. It's like an extra pair of hands that will accurately cut out things for you. You can also use it to drill screw holes and dados and slots and all different kinds of other features that are going to help make this stand very sturdy and functional. There is one feature that we've been playing around with though and iterating on. Originally, we were going to manually drill holes and insert dowels to help keep a lot of the pieces together. But since we are doing this sandwich plywood approach, we started playing around with the idea of doing most of this on the CNC. And this idea was inspired by using biscuits or dominoes. And then those ideas evolved into doing these hidden dog bones. So all of this was 100% cut out on our CNC machine. And a more traditional woodworker would probably use bow ties here instead of dog bones. And since the CNC machine is just a more sophisticated type of router, it has a hard time cutting really sharp interior angles properly. This is mainly due to the roundness of the bits that we use. So the rounded dog bone shape works out fantastic, and it still has the angles necessary to pull the pieces together. And I gotta apologize here. I know I've been jumping around a lot trying to show all the details and the features of this stand. It's very complicated. There are a lot of different parts. A lot of things going on. Probably could have just created a simple wooden box with shelves in it. But I love this stuff. I love making things, solving problems, figuring out different ways of doing something. And yeah, I have a tendency of making things that are overly complicated. My brain is constantly shooting off in different directions, which is probably why I have challenges making long format videos. I can see the small details and I know what the big picture is. It's everything in between that gives me a hard time. So to slow down a little bit, right now we are taking all of the CNC cut parts and we're gluing them all together, and we're also fitting them to the base. We're screwing them in place just to make sure that they get a good fit. We're not doing a final glue up just in case we need to replace any of the parts, but everything is fitting together really nicely. There's no major mistakes. And since the bottom is mostly done and we need to start working on the top of the stand, we're going to pull it off of our workbench. And these are threaded inserts. We're going to add these to the stand so that the top is removable. And the top of the stand is made of multiple parts just to give it a lot of strength and thickness. And here's a clever trick. We're using the bolts to secure the top to the stand as a way of clamping the top together while we do a glue up. And these are T-tracks. We're doing a test fit here to make sure that they fit in all the grooves. And eventually we'll use the T-tracks to clamp parts together while we're not using the bandsaw and the drill press. So these little wings that we're adding to both sides using the invisible hinges will support the shelf when it's flipped over. And hopefully they'll be strong enough to hold up the tools also and keep the work surface nice and level. This is the first test fit of the bandsaw on the left-hand side, and we're figuring out if we got the bolt holes in the right place. And I made a big mistake here. The bandsaw's metal tabletop, it sticks out too far to the left, and it's hitting the side of the stand, so we're gonna have to iterate a little bit and try to fix that. I really should have made a CAD model of both the tools just to make sure that nothing like this happened. We might have to put it on the right side instead, but we're going to figure it out somehow. It's just going to need some tweaking. The drill press is thinner though and doesn't have a lot of parts that stick out, so it could go on either side. I'm hand drilling some new holes on the top for the new tool placement. This top is going to have to be recut on the Avid CNC. It's just got too many mistakes, and because we need to move the holes around, it's a good first attempt, but it's going to have to be redone. I also think we're going to use some thicker plywood for the top. The two sandwich pieces of 1/2-inch plywood work okay, but I'm going to err on the side of caution and bump it up to 3/4 inch pieces. Here is our new thicker top, and we need to add T-track to this. And I really don't feel like measuring and cutting, considering all the different small little pieces that we need to make, so I created some 3D printable jigs. This will set the spacing correctly for when we cut them, and it also makes sure that all of the screw holes on the T-tracks are in the proper position for when we mount them to the top. And they really work well. The T-track snaps in, and then we cut both sides, and we're ready to go. This really helps to speed up the process and make sure that there's no gaps in the T-track. One great tip here is to use a center finding drill bit to make sure your holes are exactly in the center of the holes of the T-track. Here's the completed top, and we're going to now re-add the tools again. I think I've pulled on and off the tools probably about 15 times during this entire project, but it's working great now. The tools don't hit against the side, and they don't hit the floor either, so you can spin it around and move it wherever you want. So now that we got the stand done, it's time to move on to the drawers. There's 8 drawers in total, and Rockler sent us some drawer slides that we're going to use. These are pretty standard centerline drawer slides that work great. And our design in Autodesk Fusion has all of the hole placement for these drawer slides. So if you want to save a bunch of time and be really accurate, you can use these drawer slides with the design and just screw them right into the holes that were generated on the CNC. It's pretty handy to do it this way instead of having to measure or create a jig or anything like that. Having the holes there is great. And we're also building all of the drawers. Like I mentioned before, there's 8 total drawers, and this is very labor-intensive screwing and gluing all these together. So I'm not going to bore you with me doing all of this. Just going to show one really quick. And I opted to put 1/2-inch plywood on the bottom of the drawers. Now, a lot of people will think that this is overkill, and it probably is for most cabinets. But because we're going to pack in a lot of heavy tools into each one of these drawers, kind of felt like it was worth it to go with the extra material. Feel free to modify this if you're building this yourself, if you're not going to be putting, 100 pounds of clamps in each drawer like we are. And we were getting hyper organized here. We're trying to fit a lot of tools into a very small space. So we also started 3D printing these customized bins. We're just going through a very simple approach here, but feel free to use whatever you want. They're very simple trays. There's a system out there called Gridfinity that has a lot more features, and we are going to include all of these files in the main file that we're going to distribute on our website. So if you wanted to print these bins, you could, or if you wanted to adapt a system like Gridfinity, that's an option as well. But these are modular. They're on a 2x2 grid, so you can move them around and basically get whatever kind of placement that you want. And here's an optional feature that we added at the last minute. These are 3D printable edge rails that go on top of each edge of each drawer, and they hold an LED rope light. There's even a switch in the back of the drawer, so when you push the drawer in, it'll automatically turn the light off for you. The wiring is pretty straightforward, considering that these are only white LED rope lights. They're not 4-color RGB, so there's only 2 wires that you have to worry about. We'll have a parts list with the LED rope light that we're using, plus the switches and wires and everything like that, so you can replicate this yourself. But one of the pain points here is that the rope lights don't bend around really sharp corners, so you have to cut the rope light and then add a wire to make it around the corner. This can be a big pain considering you have to do this 4 times per shelf. And I'm getting older and my eyesight is not what it used to be. This should definitely help to find tools, but it's not a critical addition. And here's the final stand all put together, and I've been talking for the last 10 minutes, so here's some music and a montage. So if you'd like to build this, we've posted the full plans on our website, petesquared23.com. But we have a couple notes before you start building. We have been testing out these hidden hinges. They work pretty well. I am not positive that they're strong enough to hold any extra weight. So if you have heavier tools or you're not confident about these, definitely switch them to a stronger hinge or like a piano hinge, and you'll have better luck with that. They're working so far, but because we don't have a lot of experience with these, I don't know how long they're gonna last underneath all the weight. Also, the screws that these come with are complete garbage. We broke 3 or 4 heads off of the screws trying to use them. Highly suggest you throw those away and use a really strong wood screw, like a really, really good wood screw on these instead. It'll give you better luck and save you a lot of headaches with broken screws. I don't know why they included such garbage with these. The hinges themselves are great. Screws, not so much. I also made a couple mistakes in the design I just want you to be aware of. I probably need your help coming up with some creative solutions. So we use Rockler drawer slides for this entire build. The drawer slides on top, the front screws are in the exact same spot as the hidden hinges. So for the back of the drawer slide, I added a little hole like right here for a screw to secure it on the back, but I could not come up with a solution for the front. Because the hidden hinges are right there, there's not enough meat to really use a screw or get a screw in there. I left them out. They seem to be working okay, but if you come up with a better solution, let me know. I didn't catch this in the plans early enough. It's kind of a minor thing, but I wouldn't put a lot of weight in the top drawer. Again, we can secure it in the middle and in the back, but not the front because of the hinge. The plans on our website will have a full list of all the hardware that you need to build this. We use these gas pistons. Forgot to show this in the video. They're really easy to set up, and we have pre-drilled holes in the designs for these to go in. But these, I think, are 80 pounds each for each gas piston. You might be able to increase the size of those and get a little bit more strength. They work okay so far. They really offset the weight when you're pulling them down, but you could go maybe with a stronger one and decrease that amount of weight or try something different there too. Also, you might have noticed that I haven't put handles or drawer pulls on the wings yet. I'm still unsure if I want to custom make something for that, like a 3D print, something interesting or cool. But feel free to use whatever you'd like. There will be holes in the plans for magnets to keep these things closed. I haven't put that on yet. I've just run out of time in the video. They do work really well, but they could definitely use some hardware here on the outside. And I highly recommend using Baltic Birch plywood for this project. This is a piece of 3/4 inch Baltic Birch plywood. You can see the thickness of the veneers, and this is just superior stuff. It's much, much better than the plywood that you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. This has almost no voids. It's really well made. If you can find it, use it, and don't listen to all the people who say that the stuff at Home Depot or Lowe's is just as good. It is not good at all. That stuff has a lot of voids. It doesn't hold a screw very well when you do end grain. Baltic Birch plywood, if you don't know about it, go and Google it and learn about it. It is really, really good product. And I want to give a huge shout out to Rockler for supporting us with all of this hardware on all of our creative projects. They have been supporting us for a while now. They have been very generous, and they are amazing. If you're looking for good hardware for woodworking or any creative project, check out Rockler. We use their mobile base cart as the base for this, and it's working out really well. We also use their centerline drawer slides and a few other things to make this project possible. So check out Rockler. So thanks for watching. We really appreciate all your support. Again, the plans will be up at PeteSquare23.com. If you have any questions, please let us know. And we really appreciate you following along.